Tidbits from TNT, Sunday, October 12, 2025. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. TNT. Tishwash. Only 2 U.S. bases to stay in Iraq. 2 advisory U.S. bases will remain in Iraq, sources said on Saturday, as the withdrawal of American forces continues on schedule under the bilateral security agreement with Washington. The sources told Shafaq News that the bases will host a limited number of military advisors tasked with training and coordination support as needed. Under the plan, all U.S. combat troops will depart by September 2026. Global coalition personnel, once numbering about 2,000, will be reduced to fewer than 500, primarily stationed in Erbil, with others redeployed to Kuwait. Baghdad described the transition as a restoration of sovereignty while preserving security and intelligence cooperation with Washington. Iran-aligned factions have hailed it as a resistance victory, whereas Kurdish officials backed a limited U.S. presence to help counter ISIS threats in northern Iraq. Tishwash. Al-Sudani's advisor reveals the date of the withdrawal of the last foreign force from Iraqi territory. The Iraqi Prime Minister's security advisor, Khalid al-Yaqoubi, revealed the date for the complete withdrawal of foreign forces from Iraq, pointing to a new security and military agreement that will strengthen the strategic framework agreement between Baghdad and Washington. In a televised interview followed by Al-Jabal, al-Yaqoubi said, "Iraq is transitioning to a new phase with the United States, for the first time since 2014, following the American withdrawal." He explained that, for the first time, we have reached an agreement to withdraw combat forces and transition to a joint bilateral relationship. Al-Yaqoubi confirmed the continuation of negotiations between the two countries, the implementation of the agreement on the timetable for the withdrawal of combat forces of the U.S.-led international coalition from Iraq, and the transition to bilateral relations. He said, "Negotiations are ongoing between the two delegations, and it is hoped that we will reach an agreement next month." He revealed that a bilateral Iraqi-U.S. military security agreement will strengthen the strategic framework agreement signed in 2008 between the two countries. According to al-Sudani's advisor, the Iraqi government began implementing the withdrawal timetable agreed upon with the United States on September 30 of this year, and Iraq will be free of any American combat forces or members of the international coalition by September 2026. Al-Yaqoubi praised the role of the international coalition in supporting Iraq in eliminating ISIS and reclaiming its territory from the group's grip, noting that after the terrorist groups entered Iraq, an international coalition led by the United States was formed to fight ISIS in Iraq and Syria. The coalition forces arrived under American leadership, and we defeated ISIS, leaving only a few pockets and caves. He emphasized that Iraq controls the entire territory, militarily. The advisor noted that Iraq has gained significant experience in its partnership with the coalition, possessing a vast database of terrorist organizations and knowledge of how these organizations are managed, their financial activities, and the movement of their personnel. Al-Yaqoubi addressed the Popular Mobilization Forces (PMF) and the future of armed factions in Iraq, in conjunction with new sanctions imposed by Washington. He ruled out any further steps to follow, saying, "I don't think the recent sanctions, are a prelude to anything, and this isn't the first time sanctions have been imposed on Iraqi parties." He added, "The Iraqi state has its own laws and methods for defending its citizens and institutions, and these are unilateral American measures, not international ones. It's true that they will have an impact, but what's important is that even the rationale for the sanctions decision spoke of Iraq's interest in the strategic partnership, the United States' interest in this partnership, and its interest in adhering to its previous pledges." Regarding the positioning of the factions, the spokesman revealed that each one names them in their own way, explaining that throughout the conversation with the Americans, we were talking about 3 points. 1. The ISIS threat, its seriousness, and assessing whether it poses a real threat. 2. Iraqi military capabilities, as neither Iraq nor the Americans want to repeat the 2014 experience when there was a clear gap in the lack of joint cooperation. 3. Taking into account the operational circumstances and complexities in the region, such as the Turkish presence and armed groups in Syria, and all of this was within the framework of dialogue and common interest. He added, the fate of the factions depends on the security sector reform process, the enactment of the Popular Mobilization Forces Law, and the circumstances facing the region. He explained, we have a Supreme Committee tasked with reforming the security sector and addressing all existing shortcomings within the security institutions, and the American side is always providing advice. In another part of his speech, al-Yaqoubi discussed the upcoming parliamentary elections in Iraq, describing them as decisive and determining the next 20 years of political life in Iraq. He emphasized that major decisions in the country have been postponed until the next period. Tishwash, government advisor, the central bank is leading 3 projects that will achieve a breakthrough. In digital transformation, Iraq moves to the ranks of developed countries. Advisor to the Prime Minister for Banking Affairs, Salah Mahood, confirmed today, Saturday, that the central bank is working on 3 strategic projects for financial transformation, which are the local electronic card, rapid payment, and the billing system, indicating that the central bank has timings to complete these projects and achieve a transition in the level of financial inclusion to greater levels. Mahood said in a statement to the official agency that followed him, the central bank is currently working on 3 very important projects that will move Iraq to important and advanced levels, noting that these projects are the local electronic card, the express payment, and the billing system. He added that the central bank now has timings to complete these 3 projects in order to achieve a transition in the level of financial inclusion to greater and more levels, indicating that Iraq often benefits from global experiences, especially in the financial field and digital transformations. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon.
Source: Dinar Recaps.